What's up, everybody? This is Pretzi with For Fox's Sake. I thought it'd be fun to go over how I basically rune monsters and how I make my decisions on what to do with them after I rune them. And I did that video. I completed it with Camilla as my demonstration, and I tested her out in in a siege defense or guild war defense that I thought would be good for her, and I do think it is good for her. But I found out that the way I built her sucked, which is part of the reason why it's important to learn how to make your own decisions on building Camilla. In this particular case, I sort of went off the beaten path on how to build her and found out that the beaten path was correct. But now I know why it's correct, and that is just as important as following other people's directions. It's discovering why they're good. So, how I started off Camilla was speed, HP, HP, and this HP rune sucks, but my plan was to repraise it until it got to a lot of speed. I don't think repraising it was the issue. I don't think it would have made much of a difference. Actually, this HP rune doesn't suck. It's okay-ish, but it's not great, especially for Camilla. Anyway, getting back on track. I chose that build because I had in my head an order of priorities for her, which was what I was encouraging people to think of their own order of priorities, basically. So my priority number one was I wanted her to be fast. So that led to... Sorry. This is important. I didn't want her just to be fast. I wanted her to take a lot of turns. That is different from I want them to go first. If you want them to go first, they need to be on swift runes. If you want them to take a lot of turns, then they need to be on violent runes. So that's an important distinction. Camilla, you want her to take a lot of turns. So you want to put her on violent runes. But that's the first priority. So it's take a lot of turns. So I knew that I wanted her to have a lot of speed and be on violent. And then when I built her wrong, my second priority was to be tanky. And that led me to a speed HP HP build. And then after that, my third priority was to deal a decent amount of damage. And I was like, okay, but sometimes if you try to get all those things, you end up getting none of them. So in this case, I erred on the side of speed and being tanky, and then after that worked on dealing a lot of damage. And then I ran her through the Guild Wars or Siege tests and the team that I wanted her to be in. And I realized that if she's not dealing damage, what the hell does she do? She literally does nothing. All she does is brings damage, potentially, but if she's not doing that, then that's nothing. So if she doesn't deal damage, then she brings a slow every once in a while and is pretty much unkillable. And that's not that great when you consider that you deal with one monster who's not Camilla, you deal with a second monster who's not Camilla, and then you're left with a Camilla versus three monsters who will eventually kill her. It just takes a really, really long time. It just didn't seem it just felt like she wasn't bringing anything to the table. Even on a destroy rune, they're going to kill her before she can grind you down with the destroy runes. So that forced me to kind of come back and refigure my order of priority. So I ended up going with a crit damage rune. And honestly, she probably doesn't need this defense percentage on this crit damage rune. It probably should be attack percentage instead. But it's a pretty high roll on that defense percentage there, so I kind of want to keep it. I do have the ability to roll the attack percentage, but I might try to save that for another rune, because I feel like this rune looks pretty good and can go on to someone. Or I might try to get the attack percentage on a different rune. So, long story short, I found out that for Camilla to be good, she really needs to make your opponent sweat. Like, is she going to take 3 turns on me and my dude's armor broken? And is that just going to kill them? That could happen. I got to protect them. And then also she needs to be tanky enough that they're like, well, I can't just kill her. You can't just go after her. I still gotta kill these other 2 problems first. So that led me to reducing her HP by about 5,000 and upping her crit damage by, I guess, 67. And it made a big difference in how much I liked her. All of a sudden, she felt scary. All of a sudden, she felt like she belonged as more than just a solo monster. She belonged as part of a team. She was like the unkillable damage bringer, which felt actually very good to me. So that forced me to change my order of priorities from take lots of turns. So I still wanted her to be unviolent and to go fast. But then I wanted her to deal damage next. And then after that be tanky. And that led me to the speed crit damage HP build with a lot of HP subs, which I have to work on. I do want to bring her HP back up to about I'd like it to be plus 30 over there, so a total of like 42. But that might be asking a lot. So I guess I will be shooting for plus 20 and then maybe eventually plus 25. But that was the process and how I decided to rune her. And also how I would encourage you guys to think about monsters when you decide to rune them and make your own choices about what you need to do with them. Let me show you the arena defense. Yes, cancel that rune modification. Let me show you the arena defense that I have her in really quickly here. And I'll even test it out a little bit with you guys. Siege defense, sorry. So I put her with these monsters. It's easier to do it this way. Because Fen Yang brings an armor break onto water monsters, which means Camilla will all of a sudden be killing water monsters, which is important because it just messes people up. If they bring a fire tank and Camilla's always hitting the fire tank, then you're not really getting anywhere. You're sort of, your opponent has planned for it, but all of a sudden Camilla might be hitting the fire tank, or she might be hitting the water monster that they got the armor break on. And Fen Yang brings a lot of armor breaks. He can armor break a lot of different things. It could be a fire monster even who attacks Fen Yang, whatever. Also, Camilla is pretty strong against people who ignore defenses, because she will reduce the damage they deal to her anyway. So like a Lushan, who deals 30k to any other monster, will only deal 15k to a Camilla. And even my Camilla, who has not a lot of HP subs, or who's built on speed, crit damage HP, I should say, that's only about half her life. So when you can only bring 3 monsters, and they need 2 of them to be Lushan to kill a Camilla, that's a big ask. You're not going to be able to bring a Lushan into this. And then, Bulldozer might not do so well against Camilla. Copper probably wouldn't do so well against Camilla. Things like that. Things that would normally ignore a defense, and they do on Camilla, just doesn't work very well against her, because she still has her ability to just not take a lot of damage, with the exception of this guy here, who I don't have runes, but he will ignore her defense and still deal her a lot of damage. But even in this particular setup, you couldn't bring him because or against this particular setup you couldn't bring him because Fen Yang is going to have a high defense, so he's going to be super hard to target with this guy and expect to kill other people. And Harmonia is a fire monster, so you can't bring a Pung back. Am I pronouncing that correctly? A Pung, yeah, close enough. You can't bring this guy and expect him to use his S3 on a fire monster and reliably not glance. You're rolling the dice at that point. You might be able to do it, but you're really rolling the dice. So you can't even really bring him either. But then also I find that when I'm dealing with the Camilla that I like to use Charlotte, because her Wind Guardian Angel decreases Camilla's attack bar, or even Verad. Where is he? Him? Verad? Because he decreases her attack bar too. So I like to use those monsters against Camilla because she tends to have low resistance, and she can get rid of all the defense breaks, all the other debuffs that she wants on her, but she can't undo having her attack bar being reduced. So that is something that I find is very strong versus Camilla, but it's not so strong against Fen Yang, because even if you reduce his attack bar, he gets some of it back. I have my Fen Yang. He's got a pretty high resistance. I want to get it maxed, but my goal would be for Fen Yang to have a max resistance. So even if you do get his attack bar all the way reduced, then he gets some of it back, and he might just counter you anyway. An AoE attack bar reducer, he'll just be like, oh, you AoE'd my entire team. Let me gain some of my attack bar back and attack you 3 times and deal some damage and put a defense break on you. So it's really not that great versus him. So those two I thought would complement each other very well. And I think that is the case. And then my third pick was Harmonia, even though she's really needs to get these skill ups. I probably should work on fusing things for her, but I'm lazy. But she really needs to get those skill ups. And she needs those skill ups for this third skill here and the second skill here, so that she can heal more. But I thought Harmonia would be good because one counter to Fen Yang is to bring a Tessa. Well, Harmonia makes it harder for people to Tessa Fen Yang. And same for Camilla. Like, someone might want to Tessa Camilla, but they're going to have a hard time doing that if Harmonia is sitting there putting immunity buff on, pulling debuffs off of these 2 monsters.